Hey, what's up, fellas? How you doing? Matt Antonelli here. Today, answering your questions. Today's question is on double headers. What's it like to play a double header? How does it work? Do you start one game right after the other? How does the schedule for the day work? Here's the thing with double headers. A couple things. First, especially when you're in the grind of a season, you're playing every single day. Sometimes when you get a rain out, it's nice. You get to relax for a night, right? So you go in to the stadium and let's say it's raining and they come in, they say, hey, we're banging the game here, we're canceling it. You guys can head out of here. Like the players are kind of like excited sometimes because they're able to go out and actually get like a normal meal. Maybe they're able to eat with their families and hang out with their families a little bit more. You don't get a whole lot of those days during the year because you're always playing at night. And so, players generally get kind of excited to be able to go out and have a normal night. What happens is when you get a rain out, you're going to play a doubleheader to make that up. And so doubleheader days, as much as it is nice to get a night off sometimes, doubleheader days can be really, really long days, right? You gotta fit in two games, and it's typically, when you play one game, you play a 7 o'clock game, you're still getting there at say 2 in the afternoon, and you're getting out of there at probably almost 11 o'clock at night. So when you play one game, it's obviously a long day. There's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes. When you play two games, now you're looking at a really, really long day. And so typically how the schedule works is this. When you have a doubleheader, one thing that the manager will do sometimes is not make you do as much to get ready for that game, especially in the minor leagues, right? So let's say you got a doubleheader coming up. He may say, you know what, guys, we're not going to hit BP on the field today. You guys can show up a little bit later. So instead of having to get there at, say, like 2 or 2:30 to start getting the day going because you have to be out and hit BP at, say, like 3:45 or 4 or something like that, he may say, no BP. Just be ready to roll at game time. And when that happens, what you do is you're able to come in a little bit later. So you don't have to get in there super early. You're not going to have to go on the field. You're still going to hit and stuff. You're still going to get there and get stretched out and go through your routine. You're going to hit in the cage and get ready in there. But it's much, much quicker than if you have to get there super, super early. The other thing you have to think about with double headers is the day's going to be pushed earlier. So you're not going to start, obviously, game one at 7 o'clock. So you probably, let's say you're going to start game one at, say, maybe 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, or maybe they're going to push it to an afternoon game. So again, now you don't have as much time in the morning, so that's typically why the manager will say come in a little bit later so you don't have to get up and rush because you're going to be here all day. It's going to be a long day. Doesn't always happen. Sometimes you're going to go in and still do your normal BP and everything. You're going to play a doubleheader. The other difference that you'll see is what you're going to do between games, okay? So typically what happens is you're going to play that first game, and once it's done, both teams are going to come in. There's going to be a spread laid out for both teams. So we've talked about before how after the game, depending on what level you're at, from pretty much AA on up, and sometimes below AA, but really it starts from AA and on up, you're going to get a nice spread of food. Right? Let me take that back. It might not be a nice spread of food, but you're going to get a spread of food. And depending on where you play, you might get a nice spread of food. So what happens after game one, you're going to come in and there's going to be that spread typically laid out. It's not going to be exactly the same as a post-game spread. So you may have like, I remember a lot, you have like a quick sandwich or something, you may have some like turkeys and turkey ham, salami, all that stuff laid out. Sometimes they'll have like, they'll grill up burgers for you. So you can eat quick, and then you're going to go back out and play again. So typically you'll get, say, I don't know, probably about 20 to 30 minutes maybe to come in, eat some food, relax for a minute, and then you're going to go back out on the field. Some guys don't like to eat a ton. Obviously, you got to go back out and play another game. So you're not going to come in and eat like 6 burgers, although maybe guys in the bullpen will because they have a couple hours to digest, or maybe pitchers that aren't pitching. But as a position player, I'd come in, have like a quick thing to eat, maybe a small sandwich or something, because I got to go right back out there and I'm going to be playing in less than an hour. So that's typically how the schedule changes for a doubleheader. Other than that, there's nothing really different about it. You just got to be ready to play 2 games. One thing that I do remember happening a lot is when you have a doubleheader, again, the manager will typically, if you're a guy that plays like every day and you've been, you're a guy that's a normal starter, and you've been playing a bunch, or if you're a guy that may be a little bit banged up, maybe you're dealing with some type of small, not injury, but you have maybe like a tight hamstring, or you've got something going on. A lot of times the manager will give you maybe the second game of the doubleheader off. I know a lot of managers in the minor leagues will do that. In the major leagues will happen too. I don't think a lot of people realize, even though you're baseball obviously is not a contact sport. When you play game after game after game after game, these small things start to add up. And sometimes when you play, you have to play a doubleheader and then you've got a bunch of games after that, or maybe you've had a bunch of games and then a doubleheader. Even though it's, what's one extra game? That extra game, sometimes you need a breather because you play every day and then a doubleheader and then every day again. That can add up on you. And if you get something small going on, it could end up being something big as far as an injury. And if you're a guy that's used to playing every single day, that's sometimes a good spot to just give a guy a little bit of a breather and say, hey, you're only going to play one game today. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but again, as a player that's playing every day, it helps you out a little bit. So that's kind of everything that encompasses a doubleheader. And some of the things that managers will do differently, again, in between games, it's nothing crazy. Get a quick bite to eat and go play. And then after the second game, you do your normal thing. It was like any other day. So hopefully this helps you guys out a little bit with doubleheaders. Let me know if you have any more questions in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel if you're not done so already. Share the video with all your friends. Give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. Check out Antonelli Baseball, our Instagram feed. Check out our Twitter feed, Antonelli9. And that's all I got for you guys. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you later.